I get when I skirt. Pause. There you go. Okay. So. Maybe it's I'm not just going to tell the story of my pregnancy and like me having a baby. I'm gonna start off by what led up to me getting pregnant and my life before I was pregnant, I guess, if that makes sense, because there's a lot to this story, like a lot. It was really hard, but it's all worth it in the end, because he is my best friend. I love him more than I've ever loved anything in my entire life. I didn't know what love was until I looked at him and I was like everything just went silent and the world stood still and I was just focused on him, and it was like, this is what life is all about. This is why I'm here, because of this one. Like, he is my world. I can't even describe how blessed I am to have this little baby and how much love I have for him. I tell one story and I go into like 50 others before I get to the end of one story. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna start off by telling you guys how I met the father of my baby. I'm not gonna say any names. I was 13 when I met him, and I was in 8th grade, and he was a junior. He was 16 when we met. But it was the end of the school year, so he was a sophomore, but he was going to be a junior, and I was an 8th grader, about to be a freshman, because we met in May. No, we met at the end of April, and we only had like a month and a half left of school. Long story short, we ended up together, and we dated for about a year and a half about a year and a few months before I found out I was pregnant. And our relationship was so toxic. I became insecure about myself. I tried so hard to impress him that I lost myself. Like, I wasn't me anymore. I wasn't the Alexis that everybody knew. I lost friends, and I even lost family because of him. Like, it was horrible. He cheated on me the whole relationship. Like, I can't tell you one time that he was loyal to me. He manipulated me and made me think that no one else would want me, and I was lucky to have him because I wasn't good enough for anybody else. I was young, and I thought I was in love, and I felt on top of the world because I was a little freshman, 14 years old, and I was going into high school dating a junior. And this guy, he was one of the most popular guys ever. Like, everyone knew of him. Like, every girl wanted him. Like, if you could have him, you were lucky. Like, he was a trophy. And I felt so cool to have him. Like, I thought I was the best there is because I had this guy. But that wasn't true at all. Like, no. He was not worth any of the things that I went through, and the only good thing that came out of me being with him was my little baby. We just started dating in 2016. So the summer of 2017, I went to Ohio to visit my family because I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, and my mom's side of the family lives in Dayton. So I went down to go visit them for the summer. This guy ended up coming down, and he stayed for 2 weeks. I was on birth control before I went to Ohio, but for some reason when I got there, I stopped taking it. I stopped taking my pills. And I didn't think any of it when he came down. We were sexually active and we weren't using any protection, obviously. Okay, he went home 3 in the morning. His friend came and picked him up. So it takes 12 hours to get from Ohio to South Carolina, which is where I live now. So he got home about 5 in the afternoon. And that night, he was already partying and cheating on me. But he didn't care enough to hide it. He threw it out all over social media and knew I was going to see it, and he did not care at all. And when I confronted him about it, he made it look like it was my fault and like I was crazy and overprotective and I shouldn't be going off because he's all up on some other girl all over social media. He made it look like it was my fault and I was the blame. So we broke up from July to October, and that was horrible on me. I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant when we broke up, actually. I had no specific symptoms that I was pregnant. I just had a gut feeling, and I went to my cousin, which is my best friend, and I was like, I think I'm pregnant. And he was like, stop playing. Like, he did not believe me at all, because the whole time I was in Ohio, I would be like, I'm pregnant, like joking. Like, I was joking completely. And so when I told him, I was like, I think I'm pregnant, he did not believe me. And I was like, I'm serious. Like, I broke down in tears and I was like, I'm serious. I really think that I'm pregnant. Like, I don't know why I think I'm pregnant. I don't know why I have this feeling of me being pregnant. I have no symptoms whatsoever, but I'm almost positive that I'm pregnant. So he took me down. He bought me a pregnancy test. When I took it, there was a really faint line. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, so we looked at the results and there was a really faint line, and I was like, no way, I'm pregnant. And I just sobbed. Like, I sobbed like it was the end of the world, and I just fell into his arms and like bawled. And so I didn't believe it. Like, it was like I was like in denial. So I took the other pregnancy test that came in the box, and there was another faint line, and I was like, you're too faint for me to believe it. So we went and we got a digital pregnancy test, the Clearblue digital pregnancy test that tells you just straight up pregnant, not pregnant. I took that, and we waited and we waited and we waited for the results, and it said pregnant. And I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. So we went home and I told my mom first. My mom was the first one I told. And she did not believe me at all because of the joke. Like, it was like the boy who cried wolf. And it was not intentional at all. So I went and I told my grandma. And she didn't believe me either. Like, she was in denial. I told my now ex-boyfriend that I was pregnant. He didn't believe me. And a couple weeks passed and I started having horrible cramps. So they took me to the hospital. It was 5 in the morning. Went to the hospital with my aunt and my grandmother. Well, my grandma's sister, so my great aunt. And I was 8 weeks pregnant. I got pregnant June 9th was the day I got pregnant. I was definitely pregnant. The nurses looked at us and they were like, she's definitely pregnant. There's no denying that. So after all that, I went home to South Carolina, and I still didn't tell any of my family. I was so terrified. I felt like my grandparents were going to kick me out and disown me and never talk to me again. But at the time when school started, it was August. In August, school started. I was going to alternative school because of the year before in 9th grade. I was going in 10th grade into alternative school. And I was still trying so hard to get back with my ex, even though he cheated on me. I was still begging for him because I felt like I needed him in my life. I don't know why. For him, I would skip school to hang out with him all day. And at the time, he had another girl he was seeing. He was living with her, actually, because he got kicked out of his house. But he would come and see me. He would leave their house, and he would tell her that whatever, he was going to hang out with some friends, and he would come see me, and he would hang out with me all day, and he would tell me to my face that he was in love with her. while I was sitting there with his baby in my belly. So about a month passed. I was in my original school again. I only stayed in alternative school for 3 weeks. I started to show and I started to have symptoms. I was puking, but it wasn't morning sickness. That's a lie. You don't have morning sickness. It's all day. Some girls are lucky to only have it in the morning. Some girls are lucky to never have it. I had it all day. Every time I ate, I would go puke. So it was getting a little obvious, and everyone knew I was pregnant, like my friends. So they were spreading it around, and then it got back to my family in Ohio on my dad's side, because half of my family on my dad's side lives in Ohio as well. They found out somehow. So it started getting back to my grandparents, but I would deny. And then one night, my grandma brought home a bag, and my anxiety got the best of me, and I thought that she brought home a pregnancy test. And she didn't. It was just a pan. And why I thought it was a pregnancy test, I don't know. It was in a bag, and I was so paranoid because she kept bringing it up to me. So I just brought her in my room, and I didn't really tell her. I just looked at her, and I was like, never mind, I can't say it. And she was like, if you're going to tell me you're pregnant, you need to pack your bags and leave. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, I'm pregnant, like I told her. And she was so pissed. She did not want to talk to me. She told my grandpa. My grandpa did not believe me at all. My grandma did. She had no doubt in her mind I was pregnant because she knew the kind of relationship me and my ex had. After things calmed down, she was so mad she wouldn't talk to me for a week. But she realized, like, she can't change it. Not talking to me is not going to change the fact that I'm pregnant. So she started talking to me again. September 28th, I went to the doctor and I got my first ultrasound. She put the gel on me and she put that thing on my stomach, and I saw a baby on the screen, and I was like I didn't know what to say. I was speechless. And I just started crying, and it wasn't bad tears, though. It was tears of joy. And my grandma and my aunt was the same way. They were like, oh my God, they didn't believe it. They were speechless too. And originally my plan was to have a gender reveal party because I've always wanted one. I don't know why, I just thought they were so cool. She was like, well, you're far long enough to know the gender, so would you like to know it? And I was like, yes, I could not wait. And she was like, it's a boy. And I cried. About a week passed, and it was Monday. I went to school, and I texted my ex off of one of his friend's phones because at the time we weren't talking on my phone. I didn't have his number or anything, and was just trying to keep him off of my phone. So because I was trying to get over him. So I texted him off one of his friend's phones and sent him the picture and stuff. He asked to meet me after school. So we met up and we talked, and he was really excited, and he finally believed me for sure. And after that, we started talking about getting back into a relationship, and we ended up getting back together. But he cheated on me still, knowing I was pregnant. I went to early labor, and while we were in the hospital for 3 days because they had to try to stop it because I was only 25 weeks pregnant, he was laying in the bed next to me texting other girls. He just didn't care. And it's really hard being so young and pregnant because I always got judged, and everyone's like, you're so young, why are you pregnant, you're ruining your life, blah 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 blah. Everyone just constantly brought me down besides the people that were close to me. And even though they were telling me don't listen to them, it still got to me because I was still insecure. After I had the baby, my grandparents and my ex were getting, he was now my boyfriend, were getting along really good. They've never got along because my grandma and my grandpa knew what kind of guy he was. Once my baby came along, they put their differences aside and they started getting along, and we were all happy and stuff. But even in the hospital, he didn't help me at night with the baby. I had to get up and I had to take care of the baby myself, and even if I asked for help, he would just turn over and go right back to sleep. So that's when I kind of knew I was on my own with this one. A month passed, and I found out that he cheated on me with one of my friends, actually. And that was it. That was the last call. We're not together anymore. At the end of the day, it's all worth it. I can do it on my own. I'm strong, and I don't need him at all. My baby has everything that he needs. He has a roof over his head. He's got a bed to sleep in. He's fed all the time, a little chunky butt. He's a blessing. If you're young and you're thinking about getting pregnant because you think that's the only way to keep a guy, don't. Please don't. It's not worth it. Yes, I'm happy to be a mama, and I'm happy about my little baby being here, and I love him more than anything, but if I could have waited, I would, because when my friends are out having fun, I'm at home taking care of a baby. It's not easy. You can't just leave him or her and do whatever you want. Your teenage years are over once you have a little baby. There's no changing it. There's no taking it back. Once it's already done, it's done. I'm not going to lecture, but please just know that you're going to love more than once, and you're young, and you don't need a guy to make you happy in life. You need yourself, and that's all. You need to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you're going to have a hard time loving others. You might think you love them, but it's just that insecurity getting to you, and they make you feel good about yourself, so you think that you need them, but you don't at all. Life gets easier, and I know that's cheesy and everyone says it, but it does. I thought it would never, ever get easier, but it does. Trust me. Subscribe. Like. Bye.